6 Coronation Street spoilers for next week, 8th to 12th September. 1. Carl gets the boot once more. The week begins with Kevin and Abby arriving back from their Mallorca holiday, accompanied by youngsters Jack and Alfie. Kevin's mood sours instantly when he spots his brother Carl back tinkering in the opposite garage. Not long ago, Kevin had dismissed him after uncovering Carl's shady scam involving fake MOTs on stolen vehicles. During Kevin's time away, Tyrone reluctantly rehired Carl to lend support, but Kevin wastes no time making himself clear. He tells his sibling firmly that he wants him gone by close of play. 2. Dylan and Brody get roped into another scheme with no proper work to turn to, and Tracy still blackmailing him for cash to keep quiet about his fling with Abby. Carl turns to Brody and Dylan for help, setting up another stolen car job. Their last attempt ended in disaster, when James caught them in the act. Fortunately for Carl, James agreed to keep it secret, no doubt influenced by the fact that the pair had recently spent some intimate time together. This time the heist goes smoothly, but while they cruise off in the stolen ride, danger lurks. George looks across the street and is horrified to recognize Dylan behind the wheel. 3. Betsy's big day ends in chaos. Elsewhere, Betsy celebrates turning 18. Having already been out partying the night before, the alcohol keeps flowing once her gathering gets underway. It's a milestone, Sydney Martin shares, and it brings up a lot of emotions for her. She doesn't have her other mum there, and she's been forced to mature quickly. She's grieved for her mum Becky, and earlier this year, Mason. She's faced a lot of loss already, Sydney adds. During the party, Betsy pauses to raise her glass to Becky's photo. Later, when she announces she's heading into town for more celebrations, Lisa questions her closely about her social circle. Their communication is terrible, Sydney says. Lisa wants to protect her, but because of her job, it comes across more like an interrogation than a mother's concern. Eager to show her independence, Betsy shocks Lisa by admitting she spent the night with Dylan. Betsy and Dylan share history. They both lost Mason, and it drew them together emotionally, Sydney notes. He's caring, gentle, maybe more than she's used to. Later, Betsy strolls into the precinct, leaving Dylan a voice note before recording another for Lisa. But before she finishes, screeching tires fill the air. Moments later, a stolen car smashes nearby, and Betsy's terrified scream echoes. In the same spot she lost Mason, a car is suddenly flying towards her, Sydney says. It's a reminder that she needs her family, Carla, Ryan, Lisa, because life can vanish in seconds. 4. Lisa struggles in the aftermath. As the inquiry begins, Kit reveals that the stolen vehicle has been located, but it was set ablaze, destroying any clues. Reeling from the chaos and with one neighbor critically injured in hospital, Lisa starts to unravel. Meanwhile, George confronts Dylan, insisting he saw him at the wheel. Dylan stays calm, brushing it off as mistaken identity. But will George report what he saw and put Dylan back in the STC? 5. Carl admits the truth. Back at the Websters, Abby confesses to Carl that she can't stop thinking about him, unaware he's been secretly involved with James while she was in Mallorca. Before he can respond, Carl's phone lights up with a call from Dylan, leaving Abby puzzled. Caught off guard, Carl finally admits that Dylan and Brody have been stealing cars under his direction. Abby is left shaken. How will she cope with yet another revelation about Carl's double life? A mystery pregnancy rocks the street. At number 8, David brushes off Lily when she complains of stomach pains, assuming she's just dodging school. He sends her off without concern. Later, he vents to Sarah about Lily fighting over a boy and trying to skip classes, leaving Sarah unsettled. Meanwhile, the neighborhood's ongoing bin wars continue. David fumes when he sees rubbish from next door dumped in his bin again. He already declared battle against Carla and Lisa after Betsy used his bin, and Lisa has retaliated by jotting down every time David the dog barks. David thinks he scored a victory when he finds a positive pregnancy test in the trash, ammunition he can use against the neighbors. But his grin fades when Sarah points out it could actually belong to Lily. Sarah knows the signs all too well, having fallen pregnant with Bethany at only 12. By week's end, the test's owner finally reveals themselves, stunning David. But who is it? Coronation Street's George stunned as he stumbles upon a terrifying secret. George Shuttleworth has been enjoying something of a second wind in his love life recently, emerging as one of Weatherfield's unexpected heartthrobs. In fact, he's even been compared to Carl Webster, as both men find themselves attracting plenty of attention from the women of the street. Things took a turn when longtime partner Eileen Grimshaw jetted off to Thailand on her own, leaving George feeling abandoned and at a bit of a crossroads. Wanting to give her brother a boost, Glenda wasted no time signing him up for a dating app, insisting that it was time he put himself back out there. George's first date, however, was anything but successful. What he hoped might be the start of a new romance quickly went downhill when his companion seemed far more fascinated by reminiscing with Glenda than getting to know George himself. For George, it was yet another knock to his confidence. Still, fortune seemed to smile on him when Jenny Connor started to notice him in a whole new light. After George stepped in with his DIY skills, fixing a pesky leak at the cabin, Jenny was impressed, even swooning a little at his surprising handiness. But just as sparks seemed ready to fly, Jenny's nemesis, Christina Boyd, turned up, throwing everything off balance. Christina, never one to miss an opportunity, immediately drew George into her orbit, much to Jenny's irritation. George, flattered by the attention, couldn't help but be taken in by Christina's charm, leaving Jenny feeling pushed aside once again. The whole situation was made even messier after Jenny's infamous stunt involving Christina's husband's coffin, which left tensions running high. However, George's romantic ups and downs are about to be overshadowed in the most shocking way possible. Next week, George's focus is torn away from his love life when he suddenly finds himself face to face with danger. While walking through the street, George unexpectedly crosses paths with a stolen car speeding straight towards him. Behind the wheel, none other than Dylan Wilson, with Brody Michaelis riding shotgun. The shocking moment leaves George frozen. Dylan, usually a lad known for his cheeky charm and schoolboy antics, has been drawn into something far darker. Under pressure from his mate Brody, Dylan has become entangled in Carl's dangerous car theft scheme. Together, the pair set out to swipe high-end vehicles to impress Carl and prove they can deliver serious cash. But while Brody appears bold and reckless, Dylan is visibly shaken, nerves eating away at him as the plan spirals further out of control. As the two teens roar down the cobbles in the stolen motor, they pass directly by George, who is utterly gobsmacked to witness Dylan in such a reckless situation. The sight of a youngster he knows and cares about behind the wheel of a stolen vehicle leaves George shaken to his core. What George doesn't yet realize is that this joyride will soon end in disaster. The stolen car becomes the trigger for a devastating hit-and-run incident, one that will send shockwaves through Weatherfield. A beloved resident is left clinging to life in hospital, and the community is plunged into fear and suspicion. Now the question is, what will George do with the knowledge he holds? Will he go straight to the police and reveal the truth about what he saw? Or will he keep quiet, fearing the consequences for Dylan and the fallout it could cause within the street? Either way, George's horrifying discovery promises to change everything. Coronation Street airs on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and streams on ITVX.